Hello and welcome to another update video about Bitcoin. Bitcoin has nearly maxed out this yellow target range. In this video I would really like to just focus on the short term here, because I did talk about the overall context in the last few videos. And maybe just to summarize here, my view is there is further short-term upside potential for Bitcoin, but it will be extremely challenged, this upside potential, if we drop below the $20,100 level, or let's round it down to $20,000. Yeah. So if we go below the 20K level, which is a key support, yeah, which is also basically where you have this previous high and where you have this previous low. So it's quite an important support level. Generally, also, it is sort of a round number, isn't it? We get below that level, it will seriously challenge the assumption here that there will be one or two more highs before we have another decision point, another pivot point. Well, I can't tell you if we will come down then, but generally my assumption at the moment for Bitcoin is that we will need another low. We don't need it, but it would be ideal. I'm still looking for another low. I think Bitcoin is still looking for another low. This assumption can change if we go higher than expected. So if we really break above 22K, right, and go up impulsively and stuff like that, and the next move down will be just a corrective wave, then I will change that assumption. I have no problem with that. I've repeatedly stated over the last few weeks and months that Bitcoin needs an open mind. The Bitcoin chart is fairly unreliable. It still looks like we need another low, but we have to have an open mind, yeah. And that tells you a lot about, how confident are you with your trades, because there are very, let's say, clear charts, which also are never guaranteed to work out, those trade setups, but there are rather clear charts. And then there is Bitcoin, which isn't super clear. So my view is that we're currently in a wave 2 to the upside before we come down in a 3, and that this wave 2 is an A, B, C, as you can see here on the chart, A, B, C, and the C wave is moving up at 5. And in these 5 waves, we are currently, in my opinion, in a third wave in green. And this third wave consists of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we are now in the fourth. So the idea of this video is to understand, when do we move up in the fifth? What would be a possible target? Do we need another low? And what's going on? So important is today to understand, I said in the Ethereum video, PCE data will be released today. Yeah, PCE, very important metric, economic metric in the US, which is the personal consumption expenditures. So that will come out today at 8:30 Eastern time in the US. I think that's an hour before the stock market opens. So expect some volatility around that time. Maybe a little bit before. We already saw a bit of a sell-off yesterday related to the tech stock numbers. And it could be that depending on what number is released today, that this gives the cryptos quite a good starting point, because some of the indicators have now come down. I mean, if you just take a look at Bitcoin and the RSI, you can see that on the RSI, we are basically down here, yeah, nearly in the oversold range on the 1 hour chart. On the 4 hour chart, we've also come down out of the overbought range. So it gives us, it gives us a good starting point for a possible next push to the upside. But let's take a look at where can we come down to. We've nearly maxed out. We've nearly maxed out now this yellow box, and this yellow box is calculated based on the Fibonacci retracements of the third wave into the fourth, and it should really not drop lower, or at least not much lower than the 50% retracement. So the 50% retracement is always important for a wave 4. We don't want it to go below that, because then it will get very unlikely that it's still a wave 4. Just to highlight that very clearly, right? So the point is here, if it goes any lower than that, we need to revise the higher level assumption. I might then have to go with the assumption that we had a different count here, and to the upside we're just doing, for example, a wave A, we're coming down in B, and we're moving up in another C wave. That would give us overall more upside potential. But I don't really want to confuse you, so what you need to know, just by coming down a bit further, it would not invalidate generally the upside potential. It might just mean that we are morphing into a different trade setup. So it's really that as long as we're staying above sort of the 19K range, I think there is still a possibility for it to easily move higher. It just would be a different higher level assumption, either a B and then the C, or even a larger wave 1 with a wave 2 down and then a wave 3 up. So we'll see. But at the moment we assume that we are in this particular scenario, and therefore it is, I think, important to just label here the subwaves of this mess. And let's take a look at where we could be going. So my view is, I looked at this before the video, I think that's sort of my best view of this. And I always encourage people not to be too hung up on micro counting. What is more important than really counting the smallest of small waves is to understand the key pivot points and levels. But for me, this is looking like that. It's a WXY. And then we've got in the Y wave, I mean, this is where we are now in. And what is interesting, we've had a wave A down, we've had a wave B up, and we're now in the C wave down. That's sort of my understanding of this, how I would label this, right? And in the C wave, we're always looking for 5 waves. So what we try to do now is to understand, is the minimum requirement here already fulfilled? You know, could we come down any lower, or is the lower already in, you know? Because even if you have 5 waves, it can still go lower, but it just means that you need to be more on the lookout, that things could be changing back to the upside again. Okay, so my view of this is that this was a 1, this was a 2, we came down in a 3, and I would say, for me, the 3 low did look, the thing is, it's a bit unclear. So the point is, this for me is the 3 low, then we're in the 4 now, and the 5, there's still one more low to come. Ideally, it is not entirely clear, and that's where sometimes the micro counts get a bit unreliable. We don't need another low, because I could easily also count this as a 3, this as the 4 here, and the 5 here. But then the move to the upside isn't really impulsive yet. So I'd rather go with this, that we have a wave 4 triangle that would also, you know, confirm the wave count here. That's triangle, sideways, and so on. So one more leg down to 20.1, 20K I think would be expected. And then a move to the upside would be ideal. What would be key support if we lose the 20.1K level, because this is the 50% retracement? What would be, you know, what would be the next key support level? And for me, it would be based on the fibs. I'd be looking at the 19,880 level. That is the 61.8 retracement. And let's say in the, I don't want to say worst case, but it is also possible if we lose that, then to come down to the 19,572 level. But expectation would be, and also the ideal scenario would be, to stop at around 20.1K and to move back to the upside. Good indication that wave 5 is done and that we are moving higher. For me, it would be a move above the 20,470 level, this high. Yeah, that would be for me a very important breakout point to the upside again, to say, okay, wave 4 in white is probably done, we're moving up in 5, and then the next good indication will be the move above 20,670. That's this wave 2 high, and then we just move higher and take the different levels, right, step by step. We then have the wave B high at 20,755, and each of these levels will give us more confidence that this is over. Target to the upside depends on where we really bottom out, but to give you let's say one possible target or two possible targets for the wave 3 in green. For that, we take the length of wave 1, we take the low of wave wave 2, and we're looking at the 1.618 extension at around 21,500. There would be one key level here for the 3rd wave in green. I think that would work out pretty well with the 5th wave in white. I think that would match. And another way of calculating would be to take the length of the wave 1, add it to the low of the wave 4, and I don't know exactly where. Let's say we come down to 20.1K. Target then would be between 21,150, the 1-to-1 ratio, and 21,787. So somewhere in that range, that fifth wave should ideally end. I will highlight that area now here on the chart because I think it is highly relevant. So let's see if we get there. Okay, that's my update about here Bitcoin. Hope you liked the update. If you did, then please hit the like button, leave a comment and subscribe. And also make sure you follow us on Instagram and Twitter. There's additional content being published nearly every day. Hope you like the update. Yeah, and also please check out the channel membership if you want to learn more about, Elliott Wave. Join the community, Telegram chat, Discord chat, join the server, weekly live stream. On Sunday there's a member live stream again, and all sorts of different and additional content. So thanks a lot for watching and see you in the next video. Bye bye.